From educators to authors, join us now on our new journey as podcasters. In our podcast, Author Talk with L&B, we will talk about our author journey and share our stories in order to help you share yours. You'll get an in-depth look of the how-tos we were looking for when we got started. Stay tuned for topics ranging from how to get published to how to stay inspired. Hello and welcome to another episode of our author podcast, Author Talk with L&B. I'm Elle, Laura Bittu-Mario.
And I'm B, Brittany Scott.
And today we have two special guests.
I'm Mandy Genge.
And I'm Connie Obrachta.
They are the fabulous owners of this bookstore, New Book Joy, and we were so thrilled to be able to be here to interview you both and hear about your experience and any advice that you have for our listeners here wanting to get into bookstores and into publishing and all of that. Both know you have a wealth of experience and knowledge to bring to the table. I'm excited to hear more.
Yes. In this episode, we're going to just be talking about how authors can effectively engage with bookstores. And like for those who are out there that are authors and wondering like, how can I get my book in a bookstore? What do I need to do? We want to talk a little bit about that. But before we begin, we just want to know how all this began. You know, we want to know your story. And I know before we even started, you told us a little bit about it. But if you can tell our listeners just about the start of it all, how it all began.
Your why.
Yes, your why.
Sure. So Connie and I are cousins by marriage,
Okay.
and we're both in the education field. She's a reading specialist and I'm a high school English teacher. And for years, we would be at family parties and talk about this love of, reading, just conversations of education and reading as a whole. And she and I are on the same page when it comes to the joy of reading. And a couple of years later, we went to Michigan wine country, and we were talking about it. And then in the middle of the conversation, Connie brought up the idea of actually starting New Book Joy. So that's how it was born.
Awesome. That's amazing. And I love the title. This book does bring us joy.
Yeah.
And we were doing this live with customers and all. I was really excited. But what are you looking for when you're curating all these beautiful books and selections and packages? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure, of course. So as we're going through the book picking process, we try to be mindful of all different types of authors. All different styles of books, whether it's books in verse, shorter books, different styles of writing, different topics. What's hot, we also love to spotlight new and up and coming authors. So we are always trying to tick off all of those boxes for again every type of reader, all the type of reading love.
I appreciate that.
Yes, we really do.
I think one of the things we do is we make sure these are the books when you close the cover, you have to turn and talk to somebody about them. They are the books. That's our motto. It'll be great conversations.
Yes. I love that.
And so having a small space like we do, we are very picky about what we put in this space for children, through teens, through adults. Yeah, I love that. So what's the best part about owning an independent bookstore? What would you say your best part about it?
Well, number one, of course, is talking to customers about books. And the books in here, Connie and I have read, I always about approximately 80%. So we love bookmanship. So it's the idea of if you're not sure what type of reader you are, you could just tell us what you're in the mood for, and we'll start pulling out books. You could come sit on our couch in our reading lounge.
So you do a diagnostic and then you're pulling that educational background.
Yes, which is very different than the bigger mainstream, like where you don't get that personal one-on-one, like what do you like, what kind of books do you like, what are you I just love that. I love that.
And it's so welcoming in here. It's like from the beautiful colors to the vibe.
Yes.
It's so great. One of the things we do want to give people who are listening like an idea is if they're just starting out and they want to write, and you said you can pick out page turners. What advice do you have for them right now in this stage?
I'd say books that will, like I said, get people talking. The biggest thing is get that book at hand.
Okay.
If you've got an arbor, if you've got, anything that we can look at so we can read it ourselves. And then I always say when people talk about, can I come in and present my book to you? I know when you came to bring your book, like you were so engaging with the kids. It was more than just I'm reading my book. You had other things that the kids could do. They could
coloring to go with your book, and so I think we'd like to make it an event. And so we sometimes need to read the book, but also to do more.
I love that. So Laura and I are always talking about the hardest parts of being an author. Like, as you know, like we talk about the good things, right? But then there are also those things that are just challenging. Talk to our authors about building stamina, keep going. Come on, keep going.
It really
So, but to say, what is the most challenging thing you've experienced? And then also, how did you overcome
I
it?
would say, we're not in a huge high traffic area. So we are sort of a destination. So we're getting our word out with events and trying to take our show right a little bit and go to some other neighborhoods and have an event there so they know we exist and come to us. So I think it takes a lot of energy on our part to do that, to reach beyond the street that we're on. There's going to be times when you're like, oh, this is great. We're like, okay. And then it's like a beautiful day like this, and we didn't have that many people in this morning. And it's because, of course, they're enjoying it.
Oh yeah, it's the first
So,
nice day here in Chicago, by the way.
Yeah.
It's been very fickle and it's our first day of real like
Beautiful.
spring summer weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we know in 2 hours we are going to have a pretty good number of people coming in to do a book club with us.
Yeah.
And we're here to spot tonight.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really great.
And I also think, like what Connie said, is the idea of not everything works. You know, and the idea of being brave. So just pick yourself up and don't be afraid to go with the new idea.
Do you hear that? We just had a conversation about this, like being brave to just like reach out. Like that takes a lot of courage. It's hard. You have kind indie bookstore owners like yourself. They'll be there for you. That will let you in. So you just have to keep trying, right? Like one event that you've done. What does it look like, and how do authors come into it?
Probably one that we're doing right now is we have a local author who did a tasting book club with just her books. And we had people in line taste 4 of her books.
Yeah.
And then we match them to the book and the club, and then they're coming, they have like 6 weeks to read the book.
Yeah.
And then they come and tonight we're doing a tea tasting to go with a book that's set in England.
Yeah.
You've come to the
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah.
Your farmers,
That is
it's
so
amazing, and I cannot believe the wide-ranging effect you all had with the community, and it was everybody coming out for this farmers market, for the story time, like for everything. It's not just the bookstore that we're talking about. Like, other ways can you get involved? Like thinking about that, thinking about you can partner with bookstores, not just for a story time, but to do these fun events.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And really thinking outside of the box, and I love that. That's really encouraging. What do you see for the future?
We would love to expand this little shop. Right now, you can explore our little upstairs. Our dream is that we would have much more upstairs to explore.
Okay.
So we
Look
have,
at you, one like conversation, and then like I'm seeing it, and it can happen for you listening too. Like your dream can just keep growing.
But we've also had some great mentors from other independent business owners.
Oh yeah.
So we've been so lucky because neither of us have been in business.
Right.
So we've had so much luck. So have that conversation.
Yeah.
Always say what your dreams are,
That's
and
awesome.
you'd be surprised how people are willing to help.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Like you're building your own community within this community.
Just looking around, like this is my first time being here, but it's not anything I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I've been to independent bookstores, but this is different, and I can tell that you put yourselves in this space.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to know, like, so what was the conversation behind this look? I mean, it's amazing. It really is. It feels warm. It feels clean. It feels inviting. You
It's
know.
just adorable.
Yeah.
There are customers buying books as we speak right now. So
That's
there's no joke.
We started with our logo. We always called ourselves Try. We got Mandy and then Jane, and we helped create our logos for us.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and the chandelier was here when we walked in, and we were
And it's a great space for the community as well.
Yeah.
So when we're open, we don't have events. People are welcome to work up there.
Amazing, and you really created a good culture in here. And I think one of the things as you guys are talking that has come up to me is like whether you're author or independent store owner, one of the biggest things that's important is to know exactly what you want. So did you have that in mind when you were cultivating this wonderful experience? What was your target audience?
You know, as we were talking earlier, Connie and I wanted to have this love of reading for readers of all ages, all types of readers. And we're lucky enough that Connie is a reading specialist for little kids.
Yeah.
And I'm a high school teacher, so we knew right away that we each had our expertise from birth through grown-ups.
Yeah.
We knew from the get-go. So Connie does tend to focus on the younger kids' books more.
Okay.
I'll do middle school, high school. We both do grown-ups. So we're lucky enough that we can use our wheelhouse, and our strengths, and combine and overlap. So, and when we decided to start incorporating all the items to pair with books to enhance the reading adventure, we knew, that we wanted to do local small businesses and other
That's right.
small businesses around the U.S. So,
So really setting the intention ahead of time is important.
So that's what I'm taking from it. Even I think that authors can take from that. I think writing that vision, having it set, and then knowing where you're going.
Right.
Because it's not about copying or mimicking. It's about really embracing who you are and letting that shine through.
Right.
And I think that's a word for us.
Yes,
I mean, like,
yeah.
we're talking about branding all the time.
Oh, yeah.
About, well, what makes us who we are, and
Yeah.
how can we show that to the world?
Yeah.
And I think that's what people buy into.
Yes.
They're more so buying your story.
Yes.
Like, when I talk to
Yes.
you guys are wonderful people.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to know your story. Now I want to buy your book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So just what words of wisdom can you give us, give authors, small business owners, as we're all pressing forward, trying to make this thing work and share our story to the world?
So the more that your face as an author is connected with the book that you are providing,
Yeah.
I think it makes a difference in your
Yeah.
story about why you wrote something. I am the person who reads every book jacket, when I get the picture books about who is this person who wrote this book.
I love it too.
That want to see do they have kids when they write it, kids, what inspired them to write it.
Yeah.
So I think that. And then I just think, the picture books and things, but like I said, because that's my area, is the things that both adults and kids will get something out of, and where kids will want to participate somehow in the story. Like, either the language they join in on, or there's some action they do.
I also think if you are at a space where you are uncomfortable or you're doubting yourself, just trust yourself. There were a lot of times where I was scared, and you're just like, are we doing the right thing? Or are we sharing the joy? Is our passion coming through? And it's normal to have doubts when you're doing something brand new.
Yeah.
And if you push yourself into like an uncomfortable state.
Right.
Definitely.
But as long as you're willing to pivot, try again, don't give up.
Yeah.
You'll get there.
That's amazing. Is there anything that worked for you too in those times where you were uncertain?
I guess we talk to each other.
Yes,
Like
I was
one of
thinking the
us.
same thing.
I'm in a party or like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Or like one is down, the other one's got to be like that. Oh,
Yeah, let's be okay.
Like a support system.
Yeah.
Yes.
We loved it. I mean, I think we're so happy to have had this conversation with you, and I think the listeners are also really happy to hear, like, straight from bookstore owners. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. You heard it here. Find your community, find your why, keep trying, persevering, figure out a way to make it engaging and page turning, and just like put yourself out there. I think that's a little bit of the gist of saying.
And have fun.
Yeah.
This is an adventure.
Yes.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Bring your drafts to them to share with the kids.
I love
because
that. Yeah.
they are always looking for us to share their process.
Yeah.
And you will get great feedback.
And honest feedback.
Yeah.
Honest. Oh, the kids will tell the truth.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I do an author visit, I'll just sit down with the kids for a lunch bunch. Tell me everything, and they're so honest,
Yeah.
and I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us.
Yes. Thank you for the new book joy that you brought to this podcast.
Yes.
Again, this is Laura and Brittany here with Author Talk with L&B, hoping to get you to where you need to be in your journey.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll get that.
Thank you for joining us on Author Talk with L&B. We hope you found inspiration and valuable insights to guide you on your journey as an inspiring author. Remember, every great story starts with a single word. So keep writing, keep dreaming, and never stop believing in your voice. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with fellow authors. Join us next time for more tips, interviews, and encouragement. Until then, keep turning your pages and crafting your narrative. Happy writing.